Good afternoon. This video is about the lesson plan. I've gotten some feedback from the SurveyMonkey, and not a lot, but a couple, and it looks like some of you are still just really confused. You've tried it and you've used it, but you're confused. And some others are like, I think I got this. I'm ready to give it some practice. So even if there would just be one person who is still confused, I want to go over the expectations for the lesson plan. So you can see here we've got our Module 3, our assignments that are due for this week and the projects that we're working on. And I was right. The final lesson plan is not due until the end of week 10. So that'll give you a lot of time to think about the feedback I give you and things that you want to do to refine your lesson plan. So I thought we would just start pretty much with a example lesson plan, and I'll go over that and talk to you about my interpretation of that plan. It's not my plan, but it shouldn't have to be my plan. That's the point of the template. Everybody should be writing a plan that looks pretty similar and can easily be interpreted. And I'm going to talk about objective writing a little bit and assessment, and just also generally go through the lesson plan itself. And someone else expressed a concern about academic language. So I'll be talking about all those things. Maybe not in a linear fashion, might be a little mixed up, because that's the way I am. But let's head out with that. So this is this is the lesson plan that is given to you, offered to you as a example. Now it's way outside of the realm of history. As you can see, it's Introduction to Business. Again, it shouldn't matter. The concepts are the same. So this is just the overarching theme. Maybe you're doing something for a couple of weeks, and this is it. This is the topic and the theme. And what is it? Just, think, don't spend a lot of time laboring over this. What is their essential understanding supposed to be? What is it you really want them to come away from this unit understanding? So this is the big picture. These two are the big picture. This is what you're going to be using. This in the standard is what you will, these are the two boxes that you'll be using for this particular lesson. So it's probably going to be, I'm going to guess, since we're at the Awesome Academy and it's an introduction to business, that this might be a block schedule. Maybe it's a couple of hours, although all I have to do is go down, and see the time that's being allowed for each activity. So if you do that, then right away I'm going to know how long this lesson's going to be. The standard can just be completely lifted from the Ohio State Social Studies standards. Just copy it right like that. This is the standard that I'm going to use. Then use your own words to create this measurable lesson objective. It's actually easier to do, I think, in the younger grades, but that might be because that's where my experience is. But you do need the part, like what materials are they going to be given? So this is an overarching principle. So given the text, New York Times article, the 300th billion burger, the website, and previous knowledge, students will evaluate, this is the measurable part, the students will evaluate the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, known as SWOT, of McDonald's current strategic plan for frontline employees with 90% proficiency. So as an evaluator of the lesson plan, I'm going to then go look at the assessment part. So, okay, the teacher wants 90% proficiency, and she's going to be evaluating this SWOT analysis. Can my students do a SWOT analysis to a 90% proficiency? So the first thing I look at when I'm evaluating a lesson plan are these two things and these two things. Can I find this inside here, inside this standard? And clearly you can. And now the question is this what they're actually going to measure? So that helps keep your lesson plan really tight, very, very clear, very focused, prevents you from going off onto rabbit trails. So I don't look at this next. I personally go directly to the assessments. And here are the assessments. You may have been told in other classes that you only need one assessment, that you just need either a formative or a summative assessment, and that can be true. There's more than one way to write a lesson plan. But we are going to be using this lesson plan and as a model, so we're going to stick with this. So when you write your lesson plan, I want you to put something in every one of these little boxes. Which one you use for a grade, it needs to be very clear too. So the pre-assessment, almost the way it's being used here, is almost like it's not really a hook, because you're really going to use this article as a substance, source of substance. But it's, the setting the stage, trying to figure out what these current events really are and what the minimum wage concerns are, and it talks about the feedback and then how the teacher is going to be using this. So that's what goes into the pre-assessment. You will see that, and I would always look again, okay, is that in the activity, in the delivering effective instruction? And sure enough, it is. So the teacher is giving them 10 minutes to independently read this New York Times article. We'll go back here, so don't panic. And then the formative assessment is what you use as a teacher to help form your idea about if students are accomplishing what they need to accomplish or not. So she's going to look for students being able to demonstrate ability to perform efficiently, execute internet research, including reviewing McDonald's Practical Money Skills website. So those are a lot of words, and they might not make a whole lot of sense to you because it's not your topic, but it's really what are you hoping to accomplish by this formative assessment, which in this case is observation. So she's paired the students up to do research, internet research, and she's going to observe them to make sure that they're on track, that they're demonstrating what they're supposed to demonstrate. And then what she will do for feedback and how she's going to deal with this feedback that she gets and what she's going to do about her observations here. Sometimes in early childhood, observation and recording that observation as a form of a checklist or anecdotal notes is all you need. In some lesson plans, this might be the only boxes that you would fill out. But again, we're using this sample, and so this is where I want you to go. And then the summative, the way this lesson plan is written, is that at the end of the whole thing, there's going to be a discussion and a debate talking about practical money skills and the stuff that they found on their website and what that's going to look like, and again, what the feedback is. So let's go back now and see if that matches the objective and the standards. So yes, I saw evidence of all these materials being used. I saw evidence in the summative assessment especially that the SWOT was being done, and the 90% proficiency I didn't see as much evidence for, I mean, how is that going to be graded at a 90% proficiency? So what I would think would make that a little more clear. Let's see where she wrote that. I think when these students are doing their group discussion and their communication and that sort of thing, I would have a checklist and do a, like a check, check minus, check plus, that they're doing really well, and that 90% would equal at least a check. So if you did a test, then it's very, very clear about a percentage, but the percentages can get a little dicey sometimes. Let me show you this. This is a very abbreviated kind of a lesson plan. It's about community. Overall essential understanding is the civic responsibility. Students will identify a problem in the current school environment and offer 2 solutions. So that's going to be easier to measure because there are 2 solutions. They either offer them or they don't. And that's going to be a lot easier to identify what tool you're going to use for your assessment and how you're going to actually grade it or evaluate it. But this is just fine as well. So there's a wide range of what's acceptable, which I think is one of the reasons why this lesson plan or any lesson plan form can be confusing in the beginning. So just to kind of recap, when I look at your lesson plan, I'm going to be looking at these 2 things, these 2 things. I'm going to go immediately to the assessments and see if they make sense and if they do indeed measure what you say you're going to measure, and if they match, of course, the topic. And then I look at delivering the instruction, and I want to see all those pieces in here. So right away we see that the article that's mentioned is being provided for. Here it is, set all up. Key questions, by the way, use Bloom's taxonomy to think of your questions to put in here. And then I'm going to look at my dogs again. Then I'm going to just continue to look through and see that all the materials are here, that you're using them, that you've got some structure, and that so this should help you get from point A being the objective, point 2 being your assessment. This should help you get there. So all of that should lead back to the objective and the assessment. So I see all of those internet references that were referred to, and then I see the conclusion about what students are going to do and how it's going to be measured with this assignment. And we've got 10 minutes, 60 minutes, 70 minutes. So this is probably going to take place in either an hour to an hour and a half classroom. And then I go back and look at all the other pieces, because you've got to have all your wheels in alignment. So the wheels are in alignment here. Your car is going to go down the road just fine. And it looks like it's going to be smooth, and it's going to take you from point A to point B. Then I start looking at the more fine-tuned kind of things, and that would be the academic language and the other boxes. But I'm going to run out of time on this video, so there will be a third video for week 3. I hope that was helpful and not confusing, of course. So I look forward to seeing the work that you're going to be doing. Bye-bye.